Marisha here, and today I'm going to tell you how this could be a good investment. This is my British Museum membership card. I'm going to tell you what a membership at the British Museum entails and talk about how it's a good investment for someone like me, but not necessarily for everyone. To start with, it is a little spendy. It's £74 for an annual membership. And that is a good chunk of change if you are a student or you're a recent graduate looking for work, for example. And certainly, it is definitely not something that you should consider getting if you are just visiting London. This is definitely something for people who are living in London and who are interested enough in history to visit the British Museum multiple times. So I'll tell you what all comes with a membership, because if you're familiar with the British Museum, you know that entry to the museum is free. So you're probably wondering what on earth could be worth £74 to have a membership to this place where entrance is free. Well, while entrance to the bulk of the museum is free, they almost always have an exhibition on that you have to have a paid ticket for. And those tickets usually run close to £20 for an adult ticket. And exhibitions, they tend to have three or four of those a year. So if they have four a year and you wanted to go to all of the exhibitions in a year, then you're spending £80. And already the £74 cost of a membership is cheaper. And even if you're only going to maybe three of the exhibitions, it's about £14 that we're talking about difference between the cost of the tickets and the cost of the membership. So, what other perks do you get with a membership that justify buying one? I'm going to talk about those in a sec, but before I do, I want to give you a little bit more information about what it means to have access to the exhibitions as a member. Like I said, if you're not a member, you have to book tickets and they do sell out. I've gone to the museum in the afternoon before and seen signs posted that they were all sold out of the exhibition tickets. So if you're someone who maybe wants to decide the day of that you want to go to the exhibition, you can't always do that if you are just a regular member of the public and planning on buying a ticket. But if you're a member, you can get in no matter what. They don't sell out for members. You just show up, give them your card, and you're in. It also means that you can go to the exhibition as many times as you like. So it's not a system where, they scan your card and you went to the exhibition once and now you can't go back in again. So I found this useful on occasions when I went to an exhibition and it was taking me longer to get through it than I anticipated. And I happened to have an appointment that day. And so I had to leave in order to make my appointment. That was fine because I knew that I could come back on any other day and finish looking at the exhibition. It also meant on one occasion when I took some photographs and I got home and realized that some of them were kind of blurry and not great, that I could go back and re-photograph the things that I wanted better photos of. The freedom and flexibility to just show up whenever and be guaranteed admittance to the exhibition, as well as the ability to visit it multiple times, is really great. And so for some people, that in and of itself might be worth the little extra £14 it might be if you're only going to three exhibitions a year instead of four. But there are a lot more perks than that. For starters, you also get 10% off anything, everything in any of the shops anytime you go. Same thing with any of the restaurants in the museum. So again, it's not a one-time thing where you pay for your membership and that means that you get like a voucher, so you get 10% off one trip to one of the restaurants. Every time you go to the museum, if you want to eat, it doesn't matter which restaurant or cafe it is, it doesn't matter what you're ordering, it doesn't matter how often you do it, 10% off. Same thing with the shops. So, if you are someone who likes history books, especially, you are really going to want to take advantage of that 10% off in the shops. It's a great place to maybe pick up gifts for people because it is a the shops are pretty good, right? It's what you would expect to find in a museum, some really interesting, cool toys and books for kids, puzzles, but then also gifts that you could give to adults. Some of them are specific to the British Museum and the things that are on display there, but other things tend to be more of just kind of a British souvenirs feel. So there's a lot of variety. Even if you're someone like me who typically doesn't like to eat in, cafes at museums because you think they're kind of pricey and you're just like, 10%, that's still not a good deal or whatever. And you're not sure that you're going to be shopping so much that the 10% by itself is going to make up that difference. There's still more perks. One is access to the members room. And this is great for when you want to break from the crowds. The British Museum is popular, understandably so. It's a great place. You can't see it all in one day. So you can go there sometimes and be looking at some things, and after a while, you kind of get a little overwhelmed by the noise and the crowds. And so it's nice to go to the members' room, which is kind of small, it's quiet, it has its own cafe and its own toilets, and you can just take a break. Give your feet a rest if you've been standing for several hours. Give your ears a rest from the noise. I have taken advantage of the members' room specifically just to use the bathroom because I knew there wouldn't be a line. The lines, the bathrooms in the British Museum, when it's, in the height of the summer season, can get pretty long. So I once did just go to the members' room just to use the toilet because I knew I wouldn't have to wait. Um, and then you also get a magazine, 3 or 4 issues a year. It's usually tied to an upcoming exhibition. I'm going to show you the most recent edition that I just received, I think last week. So the new exhibition that's coming in the end of September is on the Silk Roads, and I'm really excited about it because I lived in Turkmenistan for 2 years. So I'm really hoping that there will be some Turkmen objects in this exhibition. Even if there's not, it's still going to be Central Asia and really fun, cool. So the magazine is really well done. It's a high quality magazine. I'll show you in the inside so you can see it's like, color photographs and everything. And it just tends to be articles about the upcoming exhibition, but also there will be articles about these are some of the objects that we've lent to go on the road to other museums in the country or around the world, or they'll spotlight a particular object from the museum and tell a little bit about its history. A lot of just really interesting educational articles. It's the kind of magazine for my American audience that would be really similar to a Smithsonian magazine or a National Geographic. I've kept all of my issues the way that some people do keep their National Geographic issues. And then on top of that, you also have members exclusive events. Now, some of these events cost money. I have not been to any of those because I feel like I paid enough money for my membership. I'm not paying any more for anything else. But there are plenty of free events. Um, Before I talk about the free events, though, in case you are flush with cash and you're interested, what are these paid events? They tend to be lectures that focus on either a specific object in the collection or maybe a specific region or a time period, and talks about again some of the objects and the history associated with them. But they do have other events. They often advertise having yoga, for example, in the Asian wing of the museum. That's usually in the morning before they open. So there is some variety of kind of options of lectures and subjects that you can access, again, if you are willing to pay that extra money for those sessions. But they do offer free members only events. And my favorite of those is the members evening, which again is 3 or 4 times a year tied to an exhibition. The most recent one was tied to the Michelangelo exhibition, so I'll tell you what I did there to give you an idea of what a members evening looks like. It's after hours, so the rest of the public is gone. And one of the things that's great about it is that it is so quiet. There are so few people there, and the lights are a little bit dim. And I've been able to get really good pictures of the museum itself because there aren't people in them. And there's just a very kind of zen, chill vibe to the place at the time. and it's usually lasts for about 3 hours. And during that time, they have workshops and performances and lectures. And it's structured in such a way that you can usually attend like three different things throughout the course of the evening. And they're sort of usually most of the things are offered at three different times. So if you really want to go to one particular workshop, for example, and you get there first thing and it's full, don't worry, it's going to be offered again for like the second session and the third session. So I've never had an issue where I was not able to attend all of the things that I wanted to attend at members' evenings. So this most recent one with Michelangelo, I went to a performance of Italian Renaissance music, and that was really interesting because in addition to playing the songs, they talked about the history of the songs and also talked about the instruments themselves because they were playing on historic instruments. I also went to a storytelling performance of an Italian folk tale. It's just really just entertaining time. And then I did a workshop on how to draw like Michelangelo, and I'm going to show off my artwork. And that is a miracle, and that is a testament to the instructor because he literally walked us through just step by step so that we could create that drawing. There's no way I could have created that without him. And it was just a really fun time, a chance to learn in fun, interesting ways. And they have them, like I said, maybe three or four a year. And then the last thing that I did most recently as a member is we had a special screening of the new Netflix show Chaos, starring Jeff Goldblum. Now, this was free for members, but it was limited in space. And so you had to make sure that you were one of the first to sign up to get in. But I was able to do that. And we went to a lecture theater down in the basement of the museum. And they showed us the first episode of Chaos a few days before it premiered on Netflix. And after the screening, Jeff Goldblum and Janet McTeer and the creator of the show came out, and there was a little Q&A session with them. So that was a really fun, hour and a half time, free again to spend at the museum. And so when you add up all of those perks, getting into the exhibitions and being able to do them whenever you want and as frequently as you want, the discounts at the shops and the restaurants, the magazine, the members room, the members evening. It really is a great investment if you are someone who is interested in history and just, really curious about the world and likes to learn. The only complaint that I have is that I was kind of hoping I would be able to meet someone as a member. Like, oh, one day I'll go into the members room and there'll be like a cute guy there. It's like all old people. So don't do it thinking you're going to meet your soulmate, but it is still a great investment for people who just are lifelong learners and are really interested about history and the world in general. So I really highly recommend it. Again, only if you're living in London. If you're just going to be a tourist visiting for a month or so, not worth it. Like, subscribe, tell your friends how gnarly this channel is, and I'll see you next time.